move on to 1.4. The Bank School District Directors welcomes the public to our November 13th, 2023 regular business meeting. The board appreciates your participation in the education of our students and welcomes your continued engagement. Also like to recognize National American Heritage Month. And we have that here. Oh, got it here. Okay, this month is to celebrate rich and diverse cultures, traditions, and histories, and to acknowledge the important contributions of Native people. Heritage Month is also an opportune time to educate the general public about tribes, to raise general awareness about the unique challenges Native people have faced both historically and in the present, and in the ways in which tribal citizens have worked to conquer these challenges. Specifically, we use the brave as our mascot, which is significant because the brave is a cultural symbol to the tribe of honor, spiritually, and in peace. The Bank School District welcomes all students onto our campus and into our programs. We strive to ensure that each student feels loved, seen, and represented by our actions and efforts. We are committed to making sure that all of our policies and actions align to these values and that students feel happy and proud because of their brave experience. With that, we'll move on to approval of agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the November 13th agenda.
I make a motion to approve the November 13th, 2023 agenda as presented. I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. 1.6, Bank High School leadership.
Oh no,
Unfortunately.
thanks, Molly. That's what you're trying to say. So I'll include a few updates in my superintendent's report that hopefully is relevant to the high schooler, and then Eric is up.
Okay. Now we'll move on to recognition.
So Erica's with us today, and what are the names of your partners there?
Pumpkin and pie.
Awesome.
Got them on Halloween last year.
So Erica, before you get started, I just want to thank you so much for everything that you do for our school. So far, beyond extending our career and technical education, expanding, and remember, career and technical education is their classes aligned to programs which I guess allow or give access to students for high demand and high wage jobs. And so Erica's helping to continue to expand our programs. She's also just involved in a tremendous amount of other activities, always here, knows how to drive buses, talents go on and on. So just on behalf of the district, I'm, as a partner of the board here, I just want to thank you so much for all of your efforts, and excited to see your presentation and excited for Ron to hold the guinea pigs. I'm not doing it.
Sherman.
Well, after I was invited to come, I thought I'd put together a couple slides on my classes. Almost all of my classes are new to Bank High School. I taught here last year, not this year, and I thought it would be good to share like some of the stuff we're doing in my classes and like what some of my goals are in the next few years of what I hope to get to. I teach majority plant and animal classes, so I kind of went with that theme with the slides, but we can do it. So the classes I teach right now, horticulture, intro to ag. I share this with Eggleston. We have like a split class where he has them one semester and then I have them the next semester, or I have them and he has them. I have ag leadership, vet science, companion animal science, and leadership. So I run ASB and leadership classes, but I don't have that in here since that's been around for a while. So horticulture, this one is one that we've kind of brought back last year and this year. In this class, we learn about horticulture and floriculture careers, plant anatomy, plant processes, the history of floral arrangements, color theory, color wheel, principle of design, and elements of design. And my goal with this class is to get to the point where we can do subscriptions for floral arrangements. I really want to get to the point where we can do like a monthly subscription for like a certain amount of people, maybe staff in the school or in the community, people who are closely connected, and then the students would order the flowers, pick out the flowers for that month's arrangement, be the ones to put together the arrangements. And these are pictures of students at our school with their arrangements that they've done so far in my classes. This is also a contest in FFA, so we've taken students to that contest last year, and we're starting to prep them again for this upcoming year so that they can compete in the horticulture contest. Intro to Ag, again, me and Edison split this one. He does forestry, mechanics, and electrical shop skills and crops, ag sales, and a couple other things. I do animal science, floriculture, FFA, public speaking, and we work together to provide like miniature units of all the things that both of us teach, so the kids can get experience in all of our subjects and kind of figure out where they might want to go as they continue through Biggs High School. This is a cool experience because they get to meet both of us, because a lot of times with FFA, like you might not like one advisor, but the other advisor might be your vibe. So it's the perfect way for them to get to know both of us. And a lot of times they're like, oh, I want to do this class, but then they try one of those little mini units and they're like, oh, actually I like horticulture. Maybe I'll take horticulture class. So it's a good way for us to get them tidbit. Ag leadership is brand new this year. It's really exciting. I get to have a lot of our FFA ag leaders in this class. Some of them are hardcore FFA kids, and some of them are just awesome leaders that I'm trying to drag in. But they are getting the opportunity to create independent projects. They're working on studying for their CDEs and LDEs, which are career and leadership development events. And then they get to receive personalized one-on-one coaching with me during class time, because there's 16 of them in class, and so it's easier for me to sit down with the 1 or 4 of them and like work through our problems and coach them on different stuff. Like right now we have 6 students who are going to be applying for their state FFA degree this year, which is the highest honor they can get for state FFA. And I have 5 of them in ag leadership, so I can sit them all at the table at the same time, and we can work through those applications and get some of that stuff done. So that's been really cool. Next is vet science. So vet science has been a really cool one that we have added. If you go into my classroom, I have a wall of stuffed animals, and they're all used for this class majority. It's for handling and restraints. They get to like develop their knowledge and skills on how to properly handle and restrain an animal for like a shot or to get evaluated by a veterinarian. It's more of like a vet tech course. So they get to learn those like main skills. We do clinicals where they learn how to do the like measurements and mathematics of like shots and medications. They can figure out terminology and abbreviations in vet science and learn all of that fun stuff, so that if they were wanting to do like an internship at a vet office, they would have a better understanding of all of those things. And then we do breed ID and equipment ID every day, so that they can start learning some of those important equipment and breeds that they would see in the job. And then lastly is companion animal science. This course is focused on our companion animals, like our dogs, our cats, our exotic pets. And this is where the guinea pigs come into play. When I had this course in mind, I thought it'd be really awesome to have some sort of hands-on animal experience, because like I can tell them all I want about how to properly care for an animal, but giving that hands-on experience in the classroom of how to properly handle the animals was my goal. So last year I was able to get a grant from the Pets in the Classroom, and that bought the guinea pigs. And then I got a grant from Wilco, which got their supplies in their cage for last year. And then I was able to get this new grant, which was from Oregon Women for Agriculture, and they provided me money so that I can continue caring for the animals this school year and potentially add more. We're trying to figure that out. But it's great because the students sign up for a week and it's a part of their companion animal grade, and during class time they need to check their food, their water, clean their cage, do a health check their ears, scan their stomach, trim their nails, and do all that fun stuff. Then they can take them out during class and hold them, and they're super sweet. This one is Pi.
How do you tell them apart?
They're different colors. Yeah, this one is bigger also. She's a little chunkier. This is the one the kids love because she is really easy for them to pick up. And she's like super sweet and cuddly and just like a little bit bigger than the other one. And then the other one, she hates getting picked up. She'll go like, she'll scream, but she likes being held. So it doesn't make sense to me. But the kids get really upset when she doesn't want to be held. But all of my classes have the opportunity to like learn how to like properly pick them up and hold them. And then they can ask like, oh, can I hold the guinea pig on my table? If they've been held like too much that day, then I'll be like, oh, we're giving them a break. But usually like they can go get them and they hold them at their desk. And I have a few students who will just come in like and pop in and say hi to them, and they've like made like some solid connections with them, which has been really sweet. Like I have a couple of kids that I think like have really been impacted by their relationships with the guinea pigs, and it's been like kind of a safe space for them. But they're pretty fun, and they're a nice way for them to like apply like what they're learning in my class, like right there and then. And they have a worksheet that they have to fill out and turn into me, like logging like their care, and also like checking how much food is left and checking out like all of that stuff. So they've been a great addition to my class. And then do you have any other questions for me about my classes? I think I had a couple of pictures at the end of like things that my kids are doing in there.
I guess, Erica, one thing that came to mind with the skills that you're teaching your students, do vets in the area know about the class that you started and the kids you're gonna have? And
I personally know one of the main vets here at Bakes Vet, Dr. Kim Post, and I talked to her. She actually donated, worked with her, the vet clinic, and they donated some of the animals for the handling and restraint. And I've talked to her a few times about some of the stuff I do in class, and I want to try to see if I can have some of the vet techs or one of the vet techs come in and like kind of talk about how they get to that career. I was also thinking about reaching out to the groomer, mystic groomers that's in the laundry area. So I have a couple of things.
No,
but
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And just getting the kids comfortable around animals and teaching them about that stuff, and then letting them know that if that's an interest, there's options out there for them.
And I think this is an awesome way of connecting our kids that aren't traditional ag kids to the ag program, because some of them are like, oh, well, I'm on a farm. I'm like, you don't have to be on a farm. I was like, most of my life I didn't live on a farm. So this is like a great way to connect them and have them see like what the importance is of agriculture, and kind of see the root of like our community and like where we come from. And then connect them to like the things that I teach in my class. So
Awesome.
they're like a little gateway into the program.
I'm sure you know there's a couple other vets that grew up in Banks as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Boy, I want to come back to high school.
All right, picture time.
Just one more question.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Dan.
Have you reached out to the Primate Center? Because I think they would be really interested in hosting a outing with the kids as well.
Yeah, that would be really.
That'd be cool.
Max, is there any way to make Dan's face show up on the TV?
Do you want me to show my face?
Yeah, just for the picture.
I'm all sunburned.
Well, you don't feel bad for it. Kind of gather on the TV and then Eric can give a see a picture and then. Oh. It's okay, Molly.
Yeah.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
What a great way to transport me in the back.
Yeah, we had a really big 11 here.
Wow.
It's like 3 times their own.
Good
luck.
You live in a good place.
Every time she heard that phrase, she got up and down. Go get a soda. She wanted that lettuce.
Pretty sure she's done.
Yeah.
Or she, no, you said she likes to be helped, she doesn't like to be,
Yeah, she doesn't like anything, so.
that's probably a very good learning opportunity for the
It's
kids.
different looking.
How long do you expect them to live?
They can live up to like 8 years.
You're good with
I thought-
11.
Yeah, like average,
I
I
thought it
think
was
it's
weird.
8, yeah, 11 is weird. I got them on Halloween last year and they were like probably 4 months old, maybe 2 months, somewhere in there. So.
My name should died at 8.
Couple more to go.
Thank you, Erica. for-
Thanks, Erica.
Yes.
Really appreciate you.
And pie and what was it? Pumpkin and pie. Thank you, Fiona.
Okay, we'll move on to audience comments. Do you have any?
None turned in of those present and none turned in online.
We will move on to presentations.
Yeah, I'll kick us off. So you'll have 3 kind of presentations, reports tonight. Obviously, ask questions of any of us. You'll have superintendent's report. Darla's gonna speak on student performance, and then Dustin will give a financial report. So mine, I'll be brief. We spent a lot of time in work session together. I did just want to again reiterate what Ron said. So appreciative of our Native community, appreciated of the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde and their partnerships, allowing us to use the mascot Brave and all the partnership that comes with that. Just kind of reminds me, I just wanted to say in kind of the season of thanks, I guess, just my appreciation for this board, my appreciation for the bank staff. I thought Erica's presentation right now was super uplifting, and I also know that we probably have 40 other staff members or so that could give something similar about the work they do every day. Appreciative of this community for supporting our kids, for showing up essentially 24 hours a day for our kids. And I'm most appreciative of our students. We wouldn't have a district without them. So, as you know, we've defined the Brave experience as simply one that makes our students happy and proud. Now, thanks to Ms. McCombie, you have rocks to remind you of that. And one of the ways, it's indirect, but one piece of data that we are measuring that we do feel is a reflection of happy and proudness, if that can be a word now, is attendance. And while Banks historically has really never had extremely high attendance rates as measured, during those years of COVID, it really fell it fell into really concerning levels. Less than 60% of students were considered to have regular attendance. Last year, we were one of 3 school districts recognized by the Oregonian of showing improvement to that attendance rate. It was us, Gladstone, and Reynolds school districts. While it was very modest growth, we have a lot of work to do, but unintended benefit of that article from the Oregonian is we've made connections with those 2 other districts and are actually meeting to share ideas, kind of lessons learned and how do we maintain progress. And in particular, one idea that I think we'll be hearing more about directly is going to come from Gladstone, but they're really doing a community-wide effort. So partnership with their Chamber of Commerce, partnership with their other city officials to just really do a citywide effort of, we show up to school. I think there's a lot that goes into attendance, and you'll hear a lot as we go along, but our goal is to make sure that experience is one where students kind of know why they should show up every day and are happy and proud to show up every day. Again, attendance is not our only measure of success towards our strategic plan. As you know, we have a scorecard for the district. We have 3 distinct scorecards, one for each of our schools. Each scorecard is accompanied by a 60-day action plan that not only describes the efforts we're making, but also gives us timing metrics, or what we call leading measures. So things we can measure every 60 days to see if we're making progress towards that strategic plan. But I just wanted to briefly talk about another source of data that you may be hearing about, and that's the state report cards. The state report cards are based on 3 pieces of data. One is attendance, just talked a little bit about that. Another is graduation rates, where we're sitting right around that 90% for last year. We'll get the official number in the coming months. But another one is state test scores. And I'm bringing this up now as just another public way to fight the narrative of failing schools in Oregon. The fact of the matter is the community at large, and I think we have examples of the community banks really, for whatever reason, maybe it's losing trust, maybe it's other reasons, not finding state test scores to be the source of data that they find most useful. And I say that because of the opt-out rates. And I say that to remind everyone that right now, any family that opts out, which is certainly their right, and that's something we're not trying to take away from them, but they're counted as someone failing the test. And so it just makes the data very misleading to suggest that a student that opted out would have failed it. And there's no way to distinguish that in a report card. We continue to advocate with state leadership, our own representatives and representatives throughout ODE and the legislature. We continue to advocate for a solution to that. We continue to also work with our community though, and better educate them on what we do with those results, why it may be beneficial for them to take it, and really to understand and unpack what that means. Our shift on our scorecards will not be to utilize the state test scores, but to use a diagnostic called iReady. You've heard quite a bit about that. But we'll be giving you all updates on that as students progress through those. They take those in their classrooms with their teachers, a little bit less invasive than the state exams. But just want to mention that. I think our teachers across the state are doing a tremendous job. I think your kids are doing a great job. And I just think we need to continue to message the whole story. A little update on the e-bus program. You'll see down there, this is just copy and pasted from a quick update Brian gave. I know chargers are either, did we break ground on chargers yet?
Chargers are taking up a whole unit in the bus garage. And my office.
And your office. So making progress towards that. I think probably realistically to scale, it'll be the beginning of next school year with all the supply chain issues, but continuing to make progress towards that. Finally, you have a link, an electronic version of this. I can also make sure to email it out to you. It's just a year at a glance calendar for board members. It's a live document, so we'll kind of continuously update it as we go, but we wanted to get kind of some access to you. We'll put the highlights in there. So we'll put in things that we think are kind of most relevant. We don't want to flood you with information, but it's something that if you're an active Google user, to star. If you don't use Google that much, maybe bookmark it or put it in a place for safekeeping. Has everything from sports events you might think of going to, and sort of a month by month, what are the big topics we'll be covering at board meetings. So thanks to Molly for putting that together. I'm going to do my best to talk about some of the stuff Taylor would have talked about in her student body report. Proud of our extracurricular activities. Our girls soccer team did awesome. Made it through a couple of rounds of the state playoffs, really represented us well. We had good showing from our boys and girls cross country teams. Our football team is going to head down to Cottage Grove for the semifinals and the state playoffs. That game starts at 4:30. If anyone interested in making the drive down there, or you could watch it online, or however you choose. Fingers crossed for Saturday the 25th. Hopefully we'll be playing in the state finals of the game, but we don't want to jinx it. We got a lot of work to do first. Our students also recently took a PACT, again, trying to find them assessments that they may find a little more value to. And this kind of sets them down that pathway, at least of giving them some college and career readiness indicators. And finally, our experts are our classroom teachers, and they all assign first quarter grades. We're working on kind of analyzing those, seeing where we are, seeing where they indicate we are towards our yearly goals. And I think for that, I will end my update. And if you have any questions, happy to take them. And if not, I think Darla's up next to talk to us about student performance.
I would say, Brian, just the one thank you to our community for doing the morning and afternoon dance for out in school with their cars as they pick up and drop off their students.
Yeah, totally.
That was a big change that happened. And from what I've seen in participating in that dance, it's going okay.
Going okay. We'll keep working on it. And thanks to our whole bus crew for navigating that with us.
Yes.
All right, are you ready for me?
I think so. Thanks, Darlene.
A lot of things going on and happening coming out of my office. And so I'm here tonight just to give everybody an update on all the great things that we have going on. I did send a report that should be in with all of your other board items tonight. So I'm just going to touch on a few of them, but then I'll give you time at the end if there's any questions about any of them. I'm happy to answer those. So the first thing I just wanted to touch base on is the Senate Bill 819. So we continue to talk about Senate Bill 819 because I really feel like it's important for everyone to understand the impact of this bill. It's probably one of the biggest pieces of legislation that education has seen in a really long time. And it feels like we're constantly having this conversation with parents, especially parents who want to find some creative schedules and things for their students that would technically be counted as an abbreviated school day under Senate Bill 819. So it's just a lot, and I think our goal is to really continue to offer the best possible option for all students and work with our attorneys and make sure that we are following the law, but also that we're putting students first and creating a schedule that is based on their needs. So right now we only have one student who is technically counted as an abbreviated school day. And we've been doing the 30-day meetings, and Brian has his first 90-day check-in on that and report to fill out in early December, but we will continue to work through Senate Bill 819. Tag update just really quickly. The state has changed the way that we identify students as talented and gifted. Is just more of a local identification. Now the districts can decide how they identify and what assessment they use for identifying students as tagged. So I did link our district tag plan if you wanted to take a look at that. Really exciting news is that Brian and I in October, and Carissa was also there, were able to meet with families of our students with disabilities in the district. We had about 10 parents who showed up, and they had some great ideas, and we had some great takeaways from that meeting. But one of the things that I really felt was beneficial is I felt like they were able to come together and feel like a community themselves. And it just gave them a space to talk with one another. There was a new family to the district, and some of our families who have been here for a while, we're giving them great advice, we're sharing resources. And so I just felt like not only was it a great opportunity for us to connect with families, but it was really a great opportunity for them to connect with each other. So we are looking at every other month meeting with special education families. So we will continue with that. But some great ideas that came out of that as well that we want to work on implementing. And actually I reached out to Erica, and one of the suggestions was to have low sensory events that were modeled after some of the fun things that students do, like dances, assemblies, things like that. And Erica's leadership class was brought up as students who might be able to help with these events. So I've already reached out to her and asked about helping with some dances, like some low sensory type of dances. So anyway, she's working on that with some of her students. So just a really great time to meet with those parents and to make that connection. Really exciting news. Well, we've been working with the Center for Educational Leadership out of University of Washington for a couple of years. I guess this is our second year working with them. And we recently had a workshop on October 25th where the principals and teachers from each school came together And each school is working on a vision for students learning at their schools. So the administrators are working with the teachers, they're coming up with their own visions of what student learning looks like in their schools, what that experience looks like. And each school is really engaging in the work and coming to a common agreement of what this looks like. And then we're learning through this workshop to give feedback directly related to that vision for student learning. And so just some really, really great work, great conversations, great collaboration. And we have a really great trainer as well who asks all the right questions, and it's just really, really good work. I wish everybody could just kind of peek in and see the work that we're doing. And there, I think this is really powerful. Another exciting thing that's coming up, and we touched on it just briefly in the work session today, but I'm working on putting together a process for a community curriculum advisory team or committee. So that what this will look like is a committee of community members, teachers, students, that will come together. Like, teachers won't actually be on the committee, but they'll take part in it through our school committees. But we'll be monthly, we'll be able to review the curriculum, give feedback on curriculum choices, and there'll be an advisory committee. Looking at getting that started before very long, but we'll get more information at December's board meeting. We'll have a process and things to share with you, procedures for that. So that's really exciting. I think that that's going to really address some of the questions or concerns or things that have been coming up in the community. I think that'll give people an opportunity to participate and give feedback and really make sure that people are feeling heard in our community. And then just the early literacy grant, we're working on that. The application opens, I think, on December 1st, and Marjorie and I are ready to submit that application and get those dollars for our early literacy grant. So we're excited about that, and they're doing great work at the elementary to really target those students who are in need of interventions and things at the elementary school. So those are kind of the few of the highlights of things that are going on right now. I'm happy to answer questions or provide more information if that's needed.
Could you just real briefly summarize Senate Bill 819?
Yeah, so Senate Bill 819 is the abbreviated school day bill. So the bill requires that all students have a full school day. And that it has changed the way abbreviated school day used to be, where students are compared to the same age students in their schools. Now it used to be across districts. There were some other ways to compare. If students do not have a full school day, then there are a lot of requirements, meetings, paperwork, things like that. The biggest thing that has impacted us is that students who have early release, late start, online classes, alternative education, all of those under Senate Bill 819, the way it's written, would require us to put those students on an abbreviated school day. And so, or they would be considered abbreviated school day, I should say. We've worked with our legal counsel to make sure that we can still do those without it being counted as an abbreviated school day. So it's really crazy, Will. There's a lot to it. I don't even, we could spend like hours and hours and hours, but it's very impactful for schools.
So without asking you to make a judgment, do you think that the net effect of that will be positive or negative for students?
I think that the original thought behind it was positive, like all students deserve to be in school all day, every day. I think that is a very positive thing. I think that there have been a lot of unintended consequences of it that weren't thoroughly thought through, and it was pushed through in the last minutes of the legislative session. So I think it's had a pretty negative impact across the board. And I look for there to be some changes probably to that bill now that it's been implemented, and you can really see that it's affecting so many more students than it was originally intended to benefit. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that goes in the next year or so.
Your enthusiasm is infectious.
Well, thank you. I love what I do. I think that makes a difference.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions?
I just wondered about the community curriculum advisory team. I think that's an awesome plan.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, is that they're advising like district leaders, they're advising Brian, they're advising the board, like who is the advising going to?
Yeah, they're actually advisory to the board.
Okay.
Yeah, so they will, at the end of an adoption cycle, they will actually make a recommendation to the board. So they work, it's really interesting because it kind of looks to me like kind of like this with the staff adoption committee.
Mhm.
They're really working together throughout the process. And then at the end, there'll be a recommendation from the committee to the school board. Did I say that right?
I think that's perfect. I'm not positive they may be, they may get some other tasks. Like you may, if something comes up, like, man, we need to get a group together to look at this, and it sure sounds like curriculum. Darla would probably lead them to that, but when it comes to adoption, which is a big role, it's a recommendation to you all for the adoption.
Thank
Yeah, thanks, Darla.
And usually the committee starts in September, but we're really hoping to kind of do a shortened year this year and go ahead and start it this year because it is English language arts adoption this year. And so it's not a huge adoption because we already have some curriculum in place. So it would be a great kind of like practice year for us to be able to get that up and running and get people on board. So,
Yeah.
Thank you, Darla.
All right, thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Darla. Dustin, I think you're up.
Okay.
All right, we're just trying to get your spreadsheet pulled up, and I think we're getting there.
And if anyone needs a paper copy.
Is that right?
Yeah, for,
All right, I think we're set, Dustin, thank you.
It should be a quick presentation, this month, unless anyone has any specific questions. Everything is basically in line so far with what we discussed last month. Not seeing any major changes. We're still waiting on next month, we'll see or actually later this month, we'll see the first big disbursement of this year's property tax levy and get an idea of collection rates and things like that. We've received the first of our 6 county school funds disbursements. And that's in line with budget or even a little bit higher than expected. Again, our state school fund is coming in higher than expected, as we explained last month and addressed with the supplemental budget. And then the only thing else I would want to point at is the supplies line. We are seeing lower spending in that, specifically largely resulting from ESSER funds that we're utilizing this year. The last year of those ESSER funds, we've made some major technology purchases and then we used some of those funds for curriculum adoption as well. Any questions?
I have one, I'm gonna try, and I hope I'm using the correct terminology.
Yes, sir.
On the budget that we're comparing to actuals, do these numbers now reflect this? I know the supplemental budget, there wasn't a ton of changes, but do these numbers now reflect the supplemental budget?
They do.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. They've been added in. All right, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Dustin.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
A second.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone have questions on anything? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Thank you, Dan. Passes unanimously. Move on to discussion items, which we don't have it.
None at this time.
And then action items.
So I think there's one action item.
Yep.
Ben is unavailable, so I'm gonna do my best to present this, but, so we have a opportunity to form a collective agreement with Forest Grove for athletics, and I'm just gonna, contrast that with a cooperative agreement that we have with other districts. For example, Vernonia, we're in a cooperative with soccer for them. So essentially that sort of combines the two districts into one. And in the case of Vernonia, their kids come to us and just participate essentially as if they are on our soccer team. The discrepancy in levels between us and Forest Grove, for details that I'm not incredibly familiar with, but that prevents a full cooperative between a 3A school and a 6A school. But OSAA is able to put together this thing called a collective with the goal of allowing our kids the opportunity to participate in swimming. The difference between what I described in a co-op and the collective that we're asking you to approve is the collective, essentially our students go to Forest Grove and practice more or less as if they're on the team, but their competitions, they remain kind of sole banks. And so, they're kind of responsible for their own, organization of, actual competition. They don't go and travel as if they were a participant on the Forest Grove team. So allow them facilities, resources, to have them participate, but it's not quite the level of a co-op. Happy to answer any questions? The board can comment, questions before you make a motion if you like.
Does that mean the parents need to schedule all the events for their child?
Yeah, Ben, and Ben can help with that, but what we wouldn't want to do is we wouldn't want to schedule XYZ meet, if you will, when the parents have no way to get the kids there. Sure. So,
And parents are covering coaches and
transportation, yeah.
Okay, so we need to have a motion.
Make a motion to approve the 2023 OSAA collective sponsorship agreement for application between banks and Forest Grove School.
Second.
Second?
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. And then we're on closing.
I do have some upcoming opportunities for board engagement. I'm gonna try to just make this just a reminder y'all at the end of every meeting. You have that board calendar we have, but just a couple things to think about. One, football game, everyone always love to see you there, long drive, no pressure. Looking ahead to kind of the winter and early winter, late fall, our PTOs do such a great job of organizing kind of appreciation, breakfast, lunches for teachers. If you ever want to stop by at any of those, just reach out to me, we can schedule them, there'll be plenty of time. And then, like what Darla reminded us of, December 6th, we have our instructional leadership teams from all the schools meeting with our facilitator from the center of UW. If you'd like to come to any and all of that, just to poke your head in or to have lunch or whatever it is, just reach out to me, any and all, and we'll set something up for you. So
What's that called again?
So we just call it our instructional leadership teams, but the group that we use is the Center for Educational Leadership, and they're through University of Washington.
I can't get the calendar, I'll pull up on the computer. But yeah, that sounds like something I'd like to be part of, so.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Of course. Now, one comment.
And that runs what time?
So it's all day on the 6th, but you can just come for whenever, just let me know when you're coming and.
Where is it held?
It's just upstairs in
Oh.
this room, and then
Okay.
they break off kind of midday, they all break off and go to their own school classrooms to do some observing, then they come back together and debrief. So if you're coming, let me know and I'll make sure to tell you which times they're all gonna be together. I don't want you to show up here and have them all spread out,
So can I ask so there's a facilitator that's doing this, and then are the administrators getting direct coaching from individuals, or they're getting mentorship and that kind of thing?
Yeah, not yet, yes, they're getting, administrators and teachers. Really, the focus this year is not only to develop, but how to describe and give feedback on instruction that is directly applicable or related to your instructional vision. And each school is developing their own instructional vision, so we'll talk about.
Great, thank you.
Move on to board comments. Will, you want to start us off?
Where do I start? There's so much going on in the district, but it's all really exciting. Been looking at facilities and stuff that Darla's doing, and I mean, it's just every part of the vision stuff is amazing. That's gonna be great. Falling in line with the school district vision and mission and all that. It's just exciting to see it all coming together and get focused, so that we can be so productive and impactful on our kids. And I just appreciate all the people that are doing that. All the time they're spending, all the brains themselves, that they're burning up doing it, how serious and committed they are to it. So, thank you.
Well said, Will. Kristen?
Just want to extend my gratitude again, to all the hard work that's going in, and from the teachers and the staff and our bus drivers trying to convert everything to electric and all that. You all are not, this is not easy. And Brian, just extend gratitude to you for all the hard work you've been doing in terms of leading our district over this last year and a few months. And you can see it gelling. I think we can see there were a lot of scattered pieces because of COVID, and I can feel it just really coming back together. And I think that cohesiveness is felt not just by us as a board, but I think by the staff and the students and the community as well. So I really appreciate that. And I appreciate the mention of Native American Heritage Month. I think that's really important. We have our tribes of the Grand Ronde flag. And I think it's wonderful that we're starting to embrace this and really looking at how do we connect and collaborate with folks who have a lot that we can learn from. And I think we can continue to build that. I don't know, I asked my daughter in the high school if we have like an environmental science program here. No, you were the scientist, weren't you? Right? But I think that might be an area to really collaborate with tribes in terms of their indigenous knowledge of the land and the plants and animals and the way that things are here and have been for thousands of years. So I was just thinking of that as I was looking at the symbolism of the tribe's flag earlier. So I appreciate the acknowledgement of that. And just feel like we're off to a really, really excellent start this year, and grateful for everyone's hard work. Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie?
Well, what a great school district we're in. I really feel that our community involvement is really going to make us stronger. And I love it, Darla, that we have that community members advisory committee. We had parents that came and said that that's what they wanted. So I hope they're all showing up. But that's good. And I love the chats with our kids with disabilities, their parents. Sometimes they're the ones that feel they're heard less. So this really makes it nice for them to be heard, and on behalf of their kids. I also am glad that we recognized our Native Heritage Month. And well, I think it had just been, we're just doing so much. And I just really appreciate everybody who puts their all into this, because this school district is really worth it.
Thank you, Leslie. Dan?
So it's hard to follow Leslie. Always appreciate all of you. I thought we had a great work session today where we went over some bond stuff, and Darla gave a great update on the curriculum advisory committee. I think this is a great place for us to start and show that we're really trying to be transparent, that there's going to be a set of rules that we'll follow, and moving forward with adoption of different curriculums and having lots of eyes on it to make sure that it's really kind of what we want to put out to our kids. I also want to, acknowledge the Heritage Month, or the Native Americans. Our longstanding collaboration with the tribes of the Grand Ronde is really fantastic. It's great for our kids. It's great for our community to really kind of see the heritage of Oregon, and I really appreciate that. Other than that, I really want to thank Brian for the updates. It was really kind of interesting to hear the test scores versus attendance, and measurements of how we're, trying to improve. I'm hopeful that someday we can get all the kids to actually take the tests so that we can really see where we're at. And then lastly, I just really wanted to thank Erica for coming today. That was a great presentation. I love the integration that she has with all the different programs. Her and Mr. Eggleston are just doing a fantastic job, and I think it's really a wonderful way for a lot of kids to kind of get through and to really kind of get some hands-on experience while learning a lot of important educational lessons and life lessons. So I'll leave it at that, and I really appreciate all of you.
Thanks, Ken. I'm actually not sure what else I can add, so I'll just leave it at that. Thanks everyone for coming, and as we head into the holidays, just be mindful of what we're being thankful for. So that does it. Thanks everyone.